Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your host, Member 31. Hope you're having a good week so far. Big 12-game slate here. Monday didn't go much. I start the Angels like all the time. Running with some Reds and had some pretty good results there. So, 12 games, not too much weather to be concerned with. So, we'll get into things in a second, but just a reminder, we did hit 5K in subscribers last week, and we're continuing our thank you tour here till the end of the month. So, if you haven't watched the videos and you have subscribed, or if you want to still subscribe, it's still open. Um, just take a screenshot of that, send it to promos at fsidfs.com, and we will send you a coupon within 24 hours for free VIP week. And it's a $25 value. And we're covering a ton of talk right now with the Euros and Copa of America and things going on. And then we have baseball as well, and hockey are over, but we're doing WNBA, we have NASCAR, we have PGA. So lots of cool stuff, pretty good value for free. So come check it out if you haven't before. You have nothing really to lose there. And let's get into the slate then. First game, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, Great American Small Park, 91 degrees, wind blowing in at like 9 miles per hour. Neutralized hitting a little bit, but not too bad. A 50% chance of rain up the first pitch, but it falls off after that. So maybe delay, but they should be fine. I think both pitchers are in play here, even though both offenses in an offensive park with hot conditions. So Keller and Green, I think he could play them. Green's actually turned a corner and is pitching pretty well recently, and so is Keller. So I think you can go either one here. But then both these offenses, I think, are also decent in the cheap page. So you have them as options for fill-ins. Boston and Toronto in Boston. Winds blowing out 6 miles per hour, 87 degrees at Fenway. So that's great hitting conditions. Gossman really struggled to start the season. Has come back from an injury. Has leveled off a little bit, but I don't know. This is a left-handed offense of Boston in good hitting conditions kind of scares me against him. So I think he'll be in my 150 max. Not my fade category, but my large field category. And Bello, even though Toronto doesn't really hit right-handed pitching well and doesn't have like a ton of lefties in their lineup, like Varsho should be back with his back thing, hopefully, and I am forward so but there's not really a ton of strikeouts sometimes here. So I don't think I'm touching Bello at all today. So see here, bat wise, with the Blue Jays, I don't think there's a ton of places that I really want to go here on this large slate. So there'll be my 150 max, and Boston's gonna be one of my favorite GPPs here. I just love the lefties, and the other thing too that I really like is I actually watched the game last night, and I try to, I have the Major League Baseball package, and I try to before I do these videos at least like comb through the box scores if I can't watch the games and read the details of like the game reviews and things like that, just to kind of know what's going on. Um, so like I think it gives you like a better view of context for these. And the one thing I've seen from the Blue Jays recently, their defense is horrible. Like I think it was on Sundays watching the game, maybe it was this week or last week, but they look like a little league team, just booting balls and making bad plays. Their bullpen is in shambles. So just so many positive factors. Like they were, I think they were winning like maybe 6-2 or 8-2, and they let Boston back in the game, and they came back and tied it, and then maybe it was 6-2, and then I think Boston won like 7-6. So this Blue Jays team is just falling apart. So I really like Boston in this situation. Okay, Subway Series in New York, but at the Mets Stadium. We have the Yankees and the Mets. Garrett Cole came back, didn't look bad in his first start. Probably 75 to 80 pitches, maybe 85 if things are going well. It's in the pitcher's park, so you got a price discount for him here. which is decent compared to what he'll probably be if things go well and he does get all ramped up. So can he get some strikeouts against this Mets team? Yeah, there are some strikeouts in this lineup. He's been always good against righties, and like besides like Nemo, who's hasn't been as good this year, and DJ Stewart, there's really not a ton of left-handed power here. Like I really like the Mets against lefties better than righties. So is he in play in GPP? Yes. Peterson on the other side has been doing okay, but I can't. It's the pitcher's park, but I can't pitch a lefty against the Yankees here. They just have too much power and potential here. Even Torres is starting to put things together. Trino, the catcher, could knock one out, and then you always have to face Judge. Soto hits both sides good. So the Yankees are probably my fifth favorite hop stack tonight that you pay up for. So I think that even though it's a hitter's park, like 87 degrees and the wind blowing out 11 miles per hour does help hitting a bit there too. Atlanta Braves and St. Louis Cardinals, 93 degrees here, wind blowing out also, so it makes a good hitting conditions in St. Louis. Ronaldo Lopez has been solid this season, and the Cardinals have been hit or miss. Their strikeout rate is creeping back up again after they had this like period of patience where they were much better. So I think the Braves are always frustrating. Like everybody in the industry talks about the Braves, the Padres, the Blue Jays. Like there's so much potential on these teams on a night to night basis, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. So the Braves have a decent total. So I think that playing Gibson here, even though he has had some solid starts and he is at home, I think it's a little bit dangerous. So I will, but I'll keep him in the cheap category because like I like the price point here, and we've seen the Braves save. So in a GPP, maybe this is your SP2 that's going to have a really good night and not necessarily break the slate, but give you a lot of leverage on the field if nobody is playing him and people do play Atlanta and the bats fail. So for Atlanta bats, like Clinic's been solid. Albies, Ozuna, Olson. I'd probably skip Riley and Murphy and Lauren here. Forrest Wall, as I always say, is really cheap and is a speedster and doesn't need to do much to pay off his price tag. St. Louis against Lopez, like I mean, they can't really go like all lefty here. They're going to still play Win. They're still going to play Goldsmith and Contreras, and we'll have to see if Arenado is in the lineup. I don't see him in the projected one here. So like Burleson maybe as one off, Gorman, Donovan as a one off. I think maybe those three is all I'd go as a mini stack here. But I think Lopez is a strong enough pitcher that they might be in like the leverage category. Dodgers and the White Sox, and actually I'm seeing this just updated on my screen here. I'm seeing some potential weather here now, but it's only like 40% chance of rain. I don't think that's that bad here, but the wind's blowing out in Chicago, so that definitely is going to help hitting. So, Miller for the Dodgers, not super interested in. I mean, he's in the mid range. There's a lot of great mid range options. So, you could consider him here. Let me just put the White Sox here. So, if you're back at this. So, with the weather, it's not going to scare me off him. So, yeah, he's in play. Flexen is a no. I mean, Flexen has punched above his weight class, let's call it that way. But it's gotta come crashing down soon. Like we know who Flexen is, we know like what to expect there, and he can be reverse splitsy too. So I definitely think the Dodgers are the top stack on the slate here. And we'll have to see if Teoscar Hernandez is back with the team. He's away on a personal matter. So it was nice to have like Pagas like bat like fourth and stuff. And like there's a lot of like decent right handers against the lefty yesterday, like up high in the lineup. So we'll see how the lineup rolls out. But lefty wise, Otani and Freeman there, and like Haywood and Lux and Biggio make a five that are cheap enough to afford to try to get it in. If you want to go that way. White Sox, I just would be a leverage stack, not super interested there. Okay. Next game we have is maybe a little rain here, but looks like later in the game, Marlins and Kansas City. 95 degrees and wind blowing out 10 miles per hour. So great hitting environment here again. But the rain's not gonna hit till like 11 or 12 o'clock. The game should be over by then. And it's probably just like maybe a pop-up thunderstorm or something. Maybe a cold front's coming through. So Trees knows not interested in the Marlins, especially with Kansas City being a hot offense and not hitting weather with a 5.87 total. Lugo has been okay, but I think his price tag's too high here for me to consider, even though the Marlins have been maybe one of the worst hitting teams in baseball recently. So I just don't think I'm going to be playing the Marlins. Bats, again, probably like a leverage play. And Kansas City is probably the second favorite. Right up there with the Dodgers, maybe 1 and 1A. But I kind of like the pricing on Kansas City a little bit better to fit them in. So I have so many ways to go on a 12 game slate, which is great because then you don't have like a ton of duplicate lineups fighting for the top prizes if you get the nuts. Um, Colorado and Houston here. Rustin Gomers and no, Hunter Brown has just been amazing. He's been criminally underpriced on DK for the last couple weeks, and probably just because he started off the season so bad, but he's figured it out. He's been solid. He's got a great matchup here. Should get the run support to get the win, so definitely gonna lock him in as probably my cash pitcher tonight, my SP1. Colorado would just be a leverage play against him, but it's really not a bunch of lefties if they're out there for him to struggle with. McMahon, maybe Jones if he's in the lineup, and Toglia. I'm gonna play Jay Cave. And then Houston on the other side against Gomber. Like Gomber's did better on a second course, but still, like, give me the righties here. Altuve, Bregman, Alvarez is great, lefty on lefty. Diaz, Pena, even Myers like moving up has been decent. I think Cooper Hummels, if he's in the lineup, I think he's like 2K for the wrap around there. McCormick, like I think you can play on anybody for Houston here. Another great hitting situation to get exposure to if you're playing multiple lineups. So, I mean, if you're playing like a three max, then you probably want to have a Dodger stack, a KC stack, and a Houston stack, and just put Brown as your SP1 for all of them. Texas and Milwaukee, Heaney and Bryce Wilson. Heaney's been decent recently, and Milwaukee struggles against left-handed pitching. They're really good against right-handed pitching, but even though a lot of the bats are right-handed, they just do so much better against righties than lefties. So Heaney's solidly in play here, probably more of a GPP. And Wilson, like I don't understand like why Milwaukee has a higher total here than them and is favored because left-handed power here on in Texas is decent, and Wilson struggled with that. So Texas, I think, is my second favorite GPP team behind Boston. So yeah, give me Seager, give me Josh Smith, give me Lowe. I can't remember which one's pronounced which. Uh, Even Langford's been hitting decent. Heim switch hitting catcher. Uh, Jankowski super cheap to make your stack work. Tavares at the bottom of the lineup are decent plays here. And if I'm going with Milwaukee, if you want to do a right-handed stack, Ortiz, Contreras, Adames, Hoskins, Sanchez. Oh, you can't do both Sanchez and Contreras on DK. I'd probably just drop down to Sanchez just to save you some money there. Oakland and Los Angeles, Mitch Spence and Tyler Anderson. Mitch Spence is okay, but he has zero strikeouts ability here. So I don't. He's in the cheap category because he's out against the Angels, but I just don't think that it's a very good play here. Tyler Anderson's usually a good play, and he's pitched really well this season, and Oakland's a great matchup with him for K's. But being in the 8K range for price is just seems like uh, too much for him. So I mean, you are getting a discount on Hunter Brown. So if you do play both of them, there. Like it's kind of even out because Hunter Brown should be more expensive and Tyler Anderson should be cheaper. So you're gonna kind of have a wash there. But I don't think he's a cash pitcher for you. GPPs definitely can consider it. And I think you can consider both offenses here too. Um, Oakland against lefty here. Andujar, Rooker, Langoliers. There's Geloff. It should hopefully move up from the bottom of the lineup. He had a phenomenal year last year and just had the injury and just hasn't been the same. But hopefully he starts putting things together there soon. Uh, Angels, like they had a decent night last night, and have potential to have a decent night here again. I'd probably stick more with the lefties here, like Chanel, Renfroe, switch hitter, Ward, Calhoun. I don't usually play Moniak unless I have to. So I don't know if I'll get a full stack of Angels, but they definitely make some cheap fill-ins also. Next up, Nationals and Padres, Mackenzie Gore and Adam Major. Gore, he's been solid, and Tatis went on the IL. Machado just hasn't been the same. Like, Profar Cronenworth has been fine. Ariza has no power. He's just a contact guy, and it's lefty on lefty. Solano has dual home run upside, but and Higgy can hit lefties well, the catcher. But I just really don't feel that San Diego. They only have a 3.87 total here, so I think Gore's solidly in play as a pitcher in the mid range. And then Major not interested in. Not that I really love the Washington offense, but they're over the last couple weeks have been second best in K rate. So there's really no K upside against them here. Uh, so that wise, Washington, I I kind of like playing them too in stacks. Like I like playing the Angels every single day, and it's just they're cheap and they're pesky and they get hits and occasionally have power and can steal some bases. So like they're cheap guys that usually have floor and pay off their their salaries as fill-ins where some of these bad teams, the guys are just cheap and just do nothing. And then the Padres, I think, are just going to be in the leverage stack also because I think Gore is a decent pitcher and I think it's very contrarian to build a stack against him. Twins and Diamondbacks, Joe Ryan and Fedot. Like Ryan's had a solid season. Arizona is better against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. I mean, you still have Carroll and Peterson and McCarthy. You have some pieces with Marino getting hurt. Took over Barnhart, former Cincinnati catcher, is in the lineup too. So I mean, there's another cheap left-handed bat because he's a switch hitter. So, but I don't really fear them. So I think Ryan like is probably if you're paying off the best side pitcher to like score the most points out there. And then Fedot on the other side, like if you look at the chart, like Minnesota, you're thinking, okay, they're the lowest strikeout rate in the last 14 games, but they've had some injuries, had to send some people down. Like Kepler's been dealing with a neck thing, hasn't been himself. Fedot's been really good against righties. So if the only lefties in the lineup are Larnish, um, and Kepler, like Santana doesn't really scare me as a switch hitter. It's going to be righty heavy. I think there will be more strikeouts, and I think it will be a decent matchup for him. And I think that he makes a fine SP2 candidate at price tag. That wise, I just think that they're both GPP because both pitchers are solid, but both offenses can be decent at times. Cubs in San Francisco. Only 58 degrees there, so it's going to be kind of cool for baseball. Hendricks, bring your sweater if you go to the game. Hendricks and Howard, not interested in either pitcher here. Um, like Hendricks just has no K upside, and Howard is just the Cubs have been hitting a little bit recently, so but I think both of them are just in my 150 max. So I'm just probably across this game off the slate. There's just, I mean, if you're looking for a late night hammer, I get it, but I would probably go more for like the Nationals or the Twins or the Diamondbacks for bats. But or like, in the Oakland Los Angeles game, it's not like the Dodgers are out here. There's like a really great matchup or anything like that. So, I again just kind of fade that game. So lots of options here. So let's see what we've got for builds. So Brown and Fedot, where I'm going. If you don't trust Fedot, like there's a lot of other good options in the 8K range. I have Gore and Green, the GPP one, but if you feel stronger about them, that's fine. Anderson, I said, I don't think you can go wrong in that medium category. I don't think I'm paying up for pitcher tonight. I like them, I just don't love them. GPP, it's fine, but cash, I'd rather get some bats in. So I'm going Kansas City. So Pascatino, Massey, and Witt is the three guys I'm pulling there. You can fill in with lots of other ways, but I like the A's, how they pair with them. So Langoliers and Algehars, who I'm going there with. But as I said, you can also throw in the Dodgers there. You can also throw in Houston there, and you can pair them with Oakland or any of these other cheap teams. Washington, the Angels, Cincinnati, and Pitt have some decent cheap pieces too, and a good hitting situation if the rain holds off. For GPP, give me Gore and then give me Green there, and then I'm going to stack Texas and Boston, but I need to make a decision on Smith or Devers at third base. I can pay up at third base or I can pay up at shortstop. So do I want Seager or do I want Devers more? Smith and Hamilton at least offer really good options as pivots both of them that are much cheaper and have the splits advantage. But give me Lau, Simeon, Duran, and Breu to finish the lineup. So that's what I got for you. If you have any questions, put them in chat below. Hit me up at MegaRoyal31 on Twitter/X. Want more information on FSi DFS, you can go to the description of the video and the link to our website and printing pages there. And if these videos help you, help us back, like, subscribe to our channel, share with your friends. So thanks for watching. McKinley will have a breakdown probably for both slates tomorrow. And I will be back on Thursday. So good luck in your contest, and I will see you next time.